and then like something had happened with the camera, the battery had died or something like that, but like it just like fully like crapped out, and we were
I
like,
think it got
oh,
to, it's a red camera,
yeah.
and the red cameras are, I believe, Bernie, if you know this, they're a bit notorious for getting overheated.
Hmm.
Ah,
So the camera, we had been shooting a lot and we were in a confined bathroom.
yeah,
It just
Hmm.
got overheated and woo,
yeah.
but we got it
Yeah.
The hard.
because Natalie's that kind of actor, right? Natalie will deliver.
My name is Pamela Givers. I'm a therapist.
I'm just sick of men, and at the end of the day, gay men are still men.
I have homework for you.
Some of your clients have also agreed to be interviewed for this documentary. Can you tell me a bit about them?
No.
I'm not really sure I have anything interesting to say about what's happening in the world.
I think it's more about what's happening in your world.
In my world?
Gen Z and millennials have the highest levels of clinically significant anxiety.
Jesus, you were strapped in tight.
Mom, don't tell me to look at porn.
You better actively be looking for a new place to live.
Dude, I am.
And I hope you meant it when you said you wouldn't smoke weed in the apartment anymore.
I do mean it, bro.
The fear that they are experiencing.
I don't even know when I'm going to be able to buy clothes or shoes or decent shampoo again.
We all need to be really concerned about.
You are not special. Wake up, Lennon.
When we feel unsafe, our brain releases stress hormones like adrenaline.
Whoa! Fuck you!
I'm sorry, can we pause for a second?
Let's get baked.
I think connecting with your own people is a lot more important right now than trying to educate.
I think people are going to be really interested in hearing the stories that you have to tell.
I guess I just always thought of film as, a primarily visual medium, but I'm sure you know what you're doing.
I watched Are We Done Now? I just finished it a half an hour ago, and what a ride that movie was. It's been a long time since I've literally found myself laughing and then moments later choking back tears because of the story that was being told and the relatability of so much within this movie. That you, director, writer, actor, like that's a lot of hats to wear for this film. How did you manage to, first of all, get pen to paper and then get to this final moment? Like, what was your journey?
Well, first of all, thank you for those kind comments about the film, and we're really glad you took that ride. That's music to all our ears, and I'm glad you had a chance to watch the film before we're speaking today.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a long story, and in the interest of not taking up all our time, how the film came into existence. It was at the beginning of the pandemic. And in addition to the other things I do, I'm an acting teacher, and I have a studio called Haven Acting Studio here in Vancouver. So we had to move our acting classes online. And none of us had done that before. Zoom was pretty new. And it turned out that these acting classes ended up inspiring a lot of this film and connecting me to a lot of the cast. And one of those people was Natalie, who's here with us. And Natalie, maybe you can tell JD about your participation in that class and how it eventually became this character inspired by us meeting in that class.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I took a class with Ben online. I think it was during 2021. And it was called a creative activation class. And so it was kind of like bring what you want to. Some people bring like plays and things like they were just bring, this is the work I've been wanting to do and bring. And so I brought some stuff. It was like a show idea that I had. And at the same time, I was also kind of like toying with this idea of doing TikTok because a lot of people were doing it and I'd been kind of doing it for fun a little bit. And I was like, but what if I actually like tried to like do this? Like it's been a really great creative outlet. I've loved being able to put like acting POV videos on there. And Ben was just like, I don't get it, but go for it. Like do it,
Yeah.
see what happens,
Yeah.
like go for it. And I think I just needed that like encouragement from another creative
Mhm.
and somebody who I looked up to and admired. And I was like, I think I just needed that in order to know that I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. I'm going to try. I'm going to give it a shot. And so I started posting some videos, and one like video series that I was doing on TikTok started kind of getting traction. And then it was a video that I actually duetted with another content creator that like hit like 7.8 million views or something crazy like that. And then my content started like building, and I was growing an audience, and I think I reached like about like 80K like almost overnight. And I sent an email to Ben, and I was like, Ben, I am so thankful that you told me to do this, because guess what? This crazy thing just happened.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to tell you, because I don't think I would have had the courage to do this if you hadn't given me that like push, go for it. And so that I think is what led into Ben being like, there could be a story here with social media and this character. And like, there's so many young people who are on social media and who want to be content creators. Like, it's, you hear little kids, they're like 5. I'm like, I want to be a content creator. Like, it's so prevalent in our day and age now. And so I think it is a very important topic. And especially in this film, like during COVID, TikTok blew up. Like, that's all people had time for. And so I think that it just was a very key element of the whole mixture of our film, talking about that particular time in everybody's lives. So, yeah.
And I can tell you, James, for me, the key element was Natalie's vulnerability coming forth on Zoom and saying, I want to do this thing. And my initial reaction of just, being from an older generation and being cynical about TikTok and being cynical about social media, but then seeing what she had created, she was actually really good and like a really talented, strong actor who was not just sort of, doing fashion videos and stuff or kind of posing, but also actually really giving something to the audience and really giving them something entertaining and helpful. So I thought, maybe I can tell a story about a person from my generation, in this case, Natalie's mother, just being judgmental and reactive and closed off. And then actually, how far will Natalie's character go in order to get some kind of reaction? So it was really a way of me, all that Zoom stuff led to the movie because it was about me being an older guy listening and being interested instead of just being judgmental. And with Natalie's character and Elliot's character and Favor's character, all of it, the scene with Favor's character that happens the day George Floyd was killed, that actually happened in class. That was pretty much the way it went down. So Favor allowing us to share, a fictionalized but very close to the bone version of that story. And Elliot just being so articulate and so funny and so intelligent, just speaking with him and him sharing his sort of views on things. What I'm getting to, James, is that the film is really about trying to connect and cross those bridges between generations and between points of view and between just, we live in such a cynical, judgmental society. So this film isn't about COVID. It's about the way we changed and grew, hopefully, during that time. So I hope that's one of the things you reacted to. And I'm curious if there was anything you heard these sort of younger folks saying that made you view things a little differently and sort of might have enlightened you or given you more empathy for them.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I felt as though I could at least like just a tiny bit connect with almost every character in the moments that they were dealing with. I find myself in a fortunate situation where I'm kind of middle of the road when it comes to the age demographic of my friends and my coworkers. And so I was able to witness, fortunately, unfortunately, like different generations dealing with this sudden lack of connection, sudden lack of humanity, and being in a very scary and unknown situation and trying to make these connections again or make new connections even out of unexpected areas. And there was plenty moments in this film where it's like, I saw that, I witnessed that, I experienced that, and I know someone who went through that. And so, yeah, like that was, again, like there was moments where I was just laughing in my chair, almost falling out of it. And then other times where I'm like, where's the tissue? Like, because it grabs you so suddenly and so quickly. And yeah, it was amazing. Bernie, I don't want to leave you out on any of this. What was it that attracted you to this project and, helped motivate you to see it through?
I've been a fan of Ben's work as a performer and a director for a long time. So I just felt very lucky. I was invited to come work with him. And sometimes you ask a filmmaker, why they want to tell certain stories, and Ben just gave all the best answers. It's very personal and sort of important film. So yeah, I'm just very grateful to be invited on, and it has been a long kind of ride. So yeah.
Gotcha.
If I can just say, for Bernie's very modest, kind of humble guy, but in a little film like this, everybody does 10 jobs.
Yeah.
And the producer does 20 jobs, 30 jobs, doing so much. So Bernie happens to be one of those people who's not only just really fun and positive to be around, which helps keep a crew kind of engaged and committed, but is also just able to understand everything from the technical side of things to the acting side of things, just what kind of people need to feel good on set. So Bernie took over as our main producer in the second half of the shoot. And in our first half of the shoot, we started with our producers, Troy Mundell and Kimmy Alexander. So we spread this shoot out over 3 years. So the cast actually, in the second half of the shoot, they had gone through a lot of changes in their lives.
Right.
And, it's been definitely a combination of producers who have helped us get this far. Bernie's the one who's kind of my right-hand man now here in Vancouver, just helping to deal with the endless things that it takes to get a film made and get it out into the world.
Yeah. The film, again, it focuses on different characters dealing with the pandemic and the isolation that comes with it. And it is very much like an isolated, here's this story, here's this story, here's this story, here's this story. Natalie, you are amongst an incredible cast and very talented yourself. Did you have an opportunity to sit back and watch the likes of Favor or Elliot or even Gabrielle at work during this project?
Unfortunately, I only interacted with Favor and Elliot twice.
Really?
And only once that was on camera, and it didn't even make it into the movie. So our stories were very isolated. So very much so did represent the reality of what was happening.
Yeah.
We were shooting, I think we wrapped the stuff that we had shot for my character, and 2 days later they locked everything down again. So it was very, very real. And my only interaction with Gabe was through filming and over Zoom. So I really got to watch some of these master actors and interact with them through Zoom, unfortunately. It was the only way. So it was very cool to meet in person when we all came together to see the film. I was like, oh, it's so lovely to meet you in person. See you.
What was cool, though, Natalie, you got to interact and act very closely with Camille Sullivan, who plays your mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was such a joy working with her. She is such a force, and every single time I was like, this is such a delight. And it was through Zoom, but I was like, it didn't even matter. I was like, this woman is incredible, and I'm just so honored to play and be her scene partner. Truly, I felt so honored that I got to go head to head with her, because she's such a powerful actor and a wonderful person. So.
And then in the second half of the shoot, Natalie, you guys your characters met in the flesh, right?
Yes. Well, we did. Yes, yes, Camila and I, yeah. We met in the flesh for the second half of the shoot, and that was really cool. It was a really sweet moment to see our characters interact. And one of my favorite moments, actually, that we did shoot was when my character Lennon and her mom are saying goodbye at Lennon's house. And Camille just like goes and gives me a hug, and then when she gets in the car, she like fingers the camera. Like
Yeah,
she's
I
driving
saw
away.
that.
And I just, and my character's just looking so lovingly, longing after her mom. Like, wow, that was so beautiful. And I was like, ah, this is just such a perfect depiction of who these two characters are now. Of just
Yeah.
like, that's the reality, but it's kind of beautiful and still slightly messy, but wonderful at the same time. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah. I saw that brief scene. I was thinking, I was like, that's like my mom. So a part of this film, like you said, it spans over years, and there was points where there was like you had to deal with the lockdown situation and COVID and masks and probably the scanning and the swab up the nose and the whole deal. Like, did that make it difficult for trying to get this project moving forward? Because, and like, I don't know if there was like a timeline or like a deadline or something like that, because you very much were like, here's a separation. We are across the hall. We're in a park under a tent and sharing a beer from there to here. Like, how difficult did that become trying to get this done?
What do you think, Bernie? I think that sometimes for me as the director and as the actor, we just kind of have this idea, well, the producer's ultimately responsible if anyone gets COVID and dies.
Oh, God.
So you just, and of course I was one of the producers too, but you're just so focused on trying to get it in the can, right?
Yeah.
That there's a lot going on that the producers, Bernie and Kimmy, who was there on set for the second half too. What do you think, Bernie? What did you guys have to deal with?
Well, there were regulations and outlines, but I don't think it's any different than when producers have to check off boxes to get forms or get permits done. So in a way, we had a nice list of things we needed to follow.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were asking more in terms of the subject matter, because it's funny how film the story finds its way throughout time, and I feel I think the timing is perfect now. We're almost 5 years away from when we filmed, and we continue to have a changing relationship with that time as we get further away from it. So in that sense, the subject matter is a bit of a challenge as well.
That was actually one of the questions I was going to ask, is like, did you ever get to a point where it's like, too soon?
Well, I think that other people tell you that, so we don't have to think that. Right? Sometimes they don't tell you that directly, but when we first put this show together, I was going to do it just as a web series.
Right.
It was like, let's just do something. And an executive producer I'd worked with before, Jack Ong, who's been a real kind of angel in helping me get things done on the financial end. Jack said, why don't you do something on COVID? And this was like really early during COVID, and I just had no ideas and no sort of interest in that story until I started connecting with people like Natalie and Favor and Elliot.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we brought the great actor Gabrielle Miller into it, who plays the therapist at the center of it. And then I started finding a way into the project.
I find a lot of self-care practices incredibly helpful.
Forgiveness is difficult. How do you forgive? Forgive yourself.
You always gotta pull this shit right before I have to go somewhere.
Forgive them.
We shot some stuff, a bunch of stuff, masks, all that business going on,
Yeah.
Isolating the characters so there weren't people jammed into a room together, and nobody got COVID during the whole shoot. We were really lucky that way. But anyway, we started showing it around, and I showed it to an executive producer named Richard J. Lewis, who works with HBO, among other places. And Richard directs Westworld and the new Dune series. So he's, working at a very high level. He loved it and said, I want to show this to some people. And he showed it to a production company. And they said, this is great. Let's do this as a series. So we started pitching it. And as you say, maybe too soon, people just thought, what do we do with a show about COVID while we're still in COVID?
Yeah.
Does anybody want to look at it? Or are they going to want to look at it after? It's just an unknown. And it's also a very politically charged subject, isn't it? It can really divide people. And It's not necessarily what streamers are looking for, unless, there's a reward, guaranteed reward to that risk, like having a big star or something.
Yeah.
Just the other day, I was at a movie and in the theater, and a trailer for the film Eddington came on. And a friend of a friend was sitting beside us, and she said, "Oh no, I'm not going to go to that. It's a COVID thing. I'm not interested." And I just kind of went, "Okay, this is what's happening out there for a lot of people, right?"
Yeah.
People don't want to look at it. My hope is that, and we've seen this proven to us at our premiere at the Available Light Film Festival. It was the first time we showed the film in front of people we didn't know. It wasn't about COVID for them, it was about something else. It was about the recognition of like this thing we all went through together that we can laugh at now, and we can kind of see with more wisdom,
Yeah.
more shared experience. So like Bernie said, I think it is the right time for it. Someone used the phrase COVID nostalgia with us and said, we're now in a period of COVID nostalgia. So we're making our US premiere. You like that?
Yeah.
We're premiering at the Soho International Film Festival in New York on October 12th. And now we'll see how people in the States, if they have COVID nostalgia, or if once we get them in the theater, JD, we're confident.
Yeah.
Once we get people in the theater, we think this film will open their hearts. It's just getting them in the theater without them feeling like, oh God, I just don't want to look at masks and shots and vaccines and tape and all that. That's not what the film's about. The film is about us.
Yeah. That resonated with you a little bit, didn't it, Natalie?
Well, what part was that? Sorry.
The COVID nostalgia.
Yeah, I think that's quite a funny term. But I think it's also accurate. Like when we had a screening of it, and I was there for it, and just hearing people laugh about certain things, and it just like it felt like this, like, oh yeah, that was funny. Now we look back at that and be like, that was ridiculous. I can't believe we did that. And it's very like communal, and it's not like oh, that was your experience versus my experience. It's like, no, we all thought that was crazy. Like hoarding toilet paper, we were all like, that's hilarious. I can't believe we did that. We're strange humans. So I think that there is like an element of this like nostalgia, like, yeah, and it was a really weird time, and sometimes for some, like, it was some people's worst time of their lives, and other people, they were like, I actually have a chance to breathe for a second. And like, so it's just like so polarizingly opposite for people, but yet there's this like, oh wow, that was a really unique time. And some people are like, I would never want to relive that. I don't have nostalgia. I don't even want you to talk about it. And some people are like, I learned a lot about myself in that time, or I grew closer to my family in that time. So there is an element of nostalgia to it. But I think it's just a funny term of like, just like somebody had said like, oh, it's a COVID comedy. And I was like, I would never put those two words together personally.
No, God, no.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I again, just by my own feelings about the film, like there was moments with almost every character where it's like, I went through that. I went through that panic. I went through that joy. I went through that worry, and I went through that frustration. It's everyone. It felt as though like every character was on the same wheel, but they were all moving in the same direction. One was feeling one while the other one was over here, and then it just cycled around. But not everyone made it to the same spot at the very end. But the overall message of the film too is like, it's another moment where I just found myself like, I remember breaking down just by those simple words, and feeling as though that I just need to just continue to have forward motion. Like it is a bit of nostalgia, because as scary as it was, there was a moments in that period and moments in this film where everyone had an opportunity to, wait a minute, what did I just figure out? Right? That's amazing.
JD, we need to clone you and need to make 2 million of you.
One's enough.
2 million of you to see this film.
Yes.
I'm personally very excited to think about this idea, like a New Yorker, at least one stereotypical New Yorker might watch this film, and it's like, it's a different country, it's a different sort of rhythm of life. It's like anthropological for them to be like, what? So we'll see. It's this is the beauty of being able to show work in different places, and yeah, how maybe someone in Europe or Asia, when they watch this film, it's like they transports them to this a different sort of experience.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm excited to find out about this, like the what people feel about this in New York specifically, as the example. Side tangent. In the middle of all of this, I reached out to all my connections, and I had quick 15-minute interviews in quick succession with a friend of mine who lived in the UK, in Australia, in Cleveland, Ohio, in Japan, and in Italy. And everyone was experiencing something, but it was affecting everyone. But there was a common thread of everyone just scared, concerned, worried, unsure. And again, like I'm excited to see what happens when this premieres in New York. And I'm more than willing to bet there'll be people like, I didn't realize it was like that. I didn't realize people were going through the same thing I was going through up in that weird place in Canada.
Yeah. I hope you're right. I believe you are.
Yeah.
JD, when I even before we made the film,
yeah.
Richard J. Lewis, who was one of our executive producers who helped us get it out there, right at the beginning of COVID, I hadn't talked to him for a long time. He's somebody I knew from decades ago, or a couple of decades ago. And he just gave me a call out of the blue, just to say, hey, I was just thinking about you, and it's been a long time since we talked, but I just wanted to tell you, you're a real special guy, and I'm glad you're in my life. And this is one of the beautiful things about COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
About that time, is it made people take stock of what they have, what's important to them in their lives. Some people, other people just went into their own sort of form of isolation.
Yeah.
But having a friend call you up and connecting like that is also what the film is about.
Yeah.
It did, I don't want to be corny, and I think, the film isn't a corny film. It's not a touchy-feely film, but it certainly is an open-hearted film.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important message of the film is coming together in this increasingly cynical world. It feels better. Being cynical doesn't really feel good.
No.
And Natalie's message with her character, and by the way, Natalie won a Leo Award for her performance, which is a BC Film Award. And I think part of that is people recognizing the truth in how brave Natalie's character was to live her genuine life and take the judgment, take the criticism, take the ridicule, and just be her authentic self. So that's a really, really important part of the film too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do have to, again, commend you for like watching the movie. And it's a critic within me. Some typical movies or whatever is like, oh, I saw that coming. Oh, I saw that coming. Oh, I saw that. There was like, it felt like there was zero tropes that were touched throughout this entire film. And your character specifically, Ben, was a linchpin throughout the film. Yes, Pamela the character, was the primary focus, absolutely, but your character was the one who was touching base. Your character took it upon themselves to just bring that one little shining gem just to remind people that things are going to be okay. And even still, your character itself, and I hope this is not a spoiler, but your character itself shows that as much as you may try, everyone has a breaking point.
I think people are going to be really interested in hearing the stories that you have to tell.
I guess I just always thought of film as, a primarily visual medium, but I'm sure you know what you're doing.
And like the storytelling, everyone going through this, and it pulled me in and surprised me at nearly every corner.
Thank you, JD. That's so nice. I think what you felt in those scenes with me was the authenticity of me just sitting down talking to these characters, and connecting with them in a genuine way, moment to moment. The film was scripted, everything was written down, but all the actors made major, major contributions, and all the actors had final cut on the script, not on the movie.
Mm.
I had to cut the movie with our editors, Franco Ponte and Cindy Ao Young. We had to do that together, and with Bernie's eye on things. But the actors didn't do anything on screen they didn't want to do.
Right.
They didn't do anything that wasn't truthful. So I think that's what comes across for you. So we're just authentically, going through these moments together and kind of breathing together in the truth of what's happening in that moment. There's nothing that we're going, okay, we got to shoot this.
Yeah.
There's nothing we had to shoot. We shot what felt right at the moment, and if it didn't, we got rid of it. So I'm glad you picked up on that. And having somebody like Bernie on set, you need that outside eye.
Yeah.
We had a great young cinematographer named Emma Dwa. It was her first feature. I think she'd worked on another feature before, but you kind of leave, like, got to trust her that she's going to capture it and get it all in the camera.
Yeah.
And we trust each other. We trust the actors. And then you have our producers like Bernie keeping an eye on things. And ultimately, everybody kind of arrives at, there's a bullshit meter, right?
Yes.
And if that meter is going off, it's not, we don't go into denial and go, no, this is good. We just go, this isn't working,
Yeah.
I'm glad you saw that.
If all the actors really had, like, as you said, the final say when it comes to the script, and no one was pushed outside of their comfort zone or anything like that, there's a lot of vulnerability that happens with each character on screen, which is amazing to consider. What you just said, that means that everyone was willing to share that emotion, share that, even pulling from their own personal experience, which, like, translated really, really well on screen. I can't hype this up enough, honestly. It's just amazing. And I wish I could talk about your character, Natalie. I don't want to spoil anything, but my God, everything in me dropped. My heart, my soul, my jaw, everything. That was stunning. And
thank you.
I don't want to spoil anything.
You're talking about the sort of climactic scene where Natalie confronts her mother.
Yes.
So people will have to tune in and see that to see what actually happens there. But yeah, I sure can tell you, Natalie put it all on the line in that scene, and we did it in, I think we had one take for that, right?
It was one take because the camera died. Like right after. Like it was like I remember there was one point where, like, we all just were like, did we get it? Because we don't know if we got it. And then Emma was like, I think we got it. Like, I think, and then, like, something had happened with the camera, the battery had died or something like that, but, like, it just, like, fully, like, crapped out, and we were like,
I think it got to, it's a red camera.
Yeah.
And the red cameras are, I believe, Bernie, if you know this, they're a bit notorious for getting overheated.
Yeah.
So the camera, we had been shooting a lot, and we were in a confined bathroom.
Yeah.
It just got overheated, and woo.
Yeah.
But we got it.
Yeah.
Because Natalie's that kind of actor. Right? Natalie will deliver.
Thank you.
Shout out to Emma, because sometimes you look at behind the scene, what's behind the camera seems like such a skeleton crew, and Emma is just holding this tiny camera. And Ben and I had the luxury of watching a premiere with the crowd in Whitehorse on a really massive screen, almost like an IMAX size screen. Wow. And after the screening, I think Ben turned to me and was like, Emma did a great job, but Emma was nominated for a Leo as well. Wow. But sometimes you don't know, it's in the cinematographer's vision. Yeah. And we don't really know how it's going to come together, but until you see the final presentation of it. Yeah. And Emma, I think, hit it out of the ballpark.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. I want to praise Emma for a second too, because I think that she is not only an excellent craftswoman at her trade as a cinematographer,
Mm.
but she brought something so valuable, I think, to every actor, and that we felt we could trust her behind the camera. Like for the one scene that we were just talking about, it was a very confined space and it was a very intense scene.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was like, I can go to wherever I need to go because I trust her. And I trust my team and I trust Ben and I trust that, like, even though it's a very vulnerable space,
Yeah.
the team has me. And Emma was a very key part of that. And I think that every actor that's worked with her felt that she was like, I got your back.
Yeah.
I've got you. And that was just amazing.
And well said, Natalie. And I felt that way too, as a director and as an actor. But another part of that, which is again kind of what this film is about in many ways, is I'm an older guy now who's been in this business for 35 years.
Yeah.
And Emma, at the time we did our first part of the shoot, she wouldn't even tell me how old she was because she was so young. She just didn't even want to say, right? And then it's like, okay, so where does the older guy drop the ego and the control and
Mm.
just be grateful and say, we're collaborating now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's never for a determined director of photography like Emma, she's always going to push, right? She's never going to just say, okay, whatever you want. She's always going to push for her idea too, or for her technical needs too. And somehow, you find common ground and it gets stronger and stronger every day. But it's never easy, right? Because passionate artists don't sort of roll over. If you believe something, you gotta fight for it. You find the moments where it's just even unspoken, it just happens, and then there are the moments where you got to really figure out, how are we going to do this? What's this scene about, and how do we capture it with our limited resources and our limited amount of time, and how do we get the truth? And that's the strength of the film. I don't think this film would have been any better if we had 100 people on the crew. I think we would have lost the immediacy of it.
Yeah. I think it's true that, like, less is more is essentially what you're saying. And there are actually moments in this film where there's a beat where nothing is said, or the primary on the screen is saying nothing, but everything is here, or nothing is here, but you could sense that there should be something there. And it's few and far between, but there are moments where every character, every moment that needs it has that space to breathe, and nothing needs to be said because it's all being expressed with just the void that is present in that moment, which is amazing.
Well, thank you. Bernie, one of my many favorite moments is the scene where my character's kind of losing my stuff with Gabrielle as Pamela. You know that I really enjoy just her reactions and how she's not saying anything. She's just watching and kind of breathing with me and kind of holding space, as they say.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Bernie, as watching that scene unfold in a way we didn't expect it to?
You mean the audience is not expecting what's
Oh, when we were shooting, we didn't know that was going to happen, did we? We didn't know that I was going to have that meltdown.
Yeah. Well, I will say a lot of crew members turned to me and was like, some pretty good acting going on. Like, it's always a pleasure to see these veteran performers work. But yeah, Ben kind of just it's weird. Like, we all knew what we were filming. We had all read the script, but when you're there in person, it still really shook everybody up. But yeah, that's kind of why we like to go see people perform live, because our body reacts to it.
Yeah.
Ben, I'm just remembering, as this conversation is going on, we talk about favorite moments in the film. One of my favorite moments, we have someone we need to update, a very particular individual about our New York premiere. Someone who lives in New York, who gave us some clearances on a magazine. I've forgotten about her. So that's some good news to there's someone we had emailed in February saying, we hope we can make a premiere in the U.S., maybe New York, but and now they can be invited to the screening. Hopefully, they can make it.
So that was we had to get clearance, which is always a big challenge on any film, but especially independent films.
Yeah.
Things turn up, and then you have to get legal clearance to use them.
Of course.
And there's a magazine called Avant Garde.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I give a copy of it to the character of Jamie.
Yeah.
So we had to get clearance on that. So Bernie had to get in touch with the family who owns the rights to that now. And what did they tell you again, Bernie?
It was a lengthy process, and we needed clearances from two sides of they both own part of the IP, or it was just months and months, but it all came to fruition while Ben and I were in Whitehorse. Just one late night, I got this email. They had to see a screenshot and see the scene, but the woman who's a descendant of it's kind of her parents' legacy, this magazine. She wrote a really beautiful email. She said the scene brought her to tears because it reminded her of her childhood and how that magazine sat on their coffee table.
Mm-hmm.
Reminded her of the gay neighbors that lived across the street, and it just she said how her parents would be really proud of the performance and granting us access or to the clearance. So it was just a beautiful timing for everything, and now that email is gonna get a reply. There's more to the story.
That's great, Bernie. And that's kind of our payment, JD. That's how we get paid on a movie like this, by making strong, genuine connections, and the great things you're saying about the film and hearing from those people how the film affected them. Small films like this, I see your Batman logo up there, and it's so great to know that people like you who really like, I guess, right, the bigger kind of franchise stuff can also connect to little personal films like this.
Yeah.
That's really, really important to us and really meaningful. So, getting letters from people like that, that's probably maybe the most important thing about this, is that knowing that what was so important and authentic to us to put out into the world is getting received by people.
Yeah. I've always been a big fan of story. Doesn't matter if the budget is $20 or 200 million. Like, it doesn't matter to me. You have a good story, I am utterly engaged.
That's great.
Yeah. I don't know what else to cover about this movie other than go freaking see it. But but I do want to ask, since we're talking about COVID, the pandemic, the lockdown, whatever, what specific skill, ability, or one thing did you learn that you would like to share during that time? Like, what did you pick up during that intense emotional period?
What do you think, Natalie?
Oh man. I think actually the pursuing acting on TikTok actually really prepared me for this film.
Oh.
Because I was really comfortable acting with a camera. And with because oftentimes with TikTok it'd be I would duet another person or things like that. So there's not usually a physical person there.
Right.
So I was really comfortable looking into the lens of things.
Right.
And so I found that actually an interesting thing, but I don't know if I have picked up any other skills, to be honest. I think I
was just asking for one.
Yeah, I'm I don't know. And I don't even know if that's a skill or not, but I'm I got really comfortable with the camera, basically.
That is absolutely a skill.
Yeah.
Someone and you spend your lives either in front of or behind a camera. I spend my life either in front of or behind this microphone. It takes confidence, it takes practice, it takes a certain level of skill and talent. So absolutely. Mm-hmm. What about you, Bernie? Something that you picked up during the pandemic?
Oh wow, nothing proud to share, but I did watch a lot of beekeeping videos.
Oh.
My mom's garden is going crazy right now with bumblebees. Yeah, and just a reminder that I guess life is, especially in Vancouver, it's an expensive city.
Yeah.
I was grateful for some extra time to watch beekeepers and learn about bees. Yeah.
Huh.
How you, Ben?
Well, I got pretty good at cooking risotto, like too much of that.
Yeah.
Um, but I found, that process very sort of meditative, the
Yeah.
stirring and the sort of creation of it. Natalie is a painter, just had her first show, and I like to paint too. And I found that cooking kind of flexes some of those same muscles sometimes.
Yeah.
So that I got pretty good at that. But the most important thing for me, I think, is that I started to quell my reactivity
Right.
in general. And, spending all that time with my wife, uh, we just wanted peace and we just wanted gentleness.
Mm.
And there's no room for sort of reactivity and for, going to those sort of negative, cynical places. I learned to just kind of take that breath, right?
Right.
To just breathe. And of course, it's all a work in progress. Never stop learning, but I did get a bit better at that. And certainly more gratitude, which I've always had, but sort of you take things for granted sometimes in this life. And
Right.
I stopped taking things for granted. I was one of the lucky ones in that COVID absolutely changed me for the better.
Mm.
It made moving forward the rest of my life, the after COVID part of my life, um, it's better.
Yeah.
And I hope that, when people can come out and see this film, maybe it'll shine a bit of light on that. And they can go, oh, yeah, like I learned a lot of important things in this. And there's a quote from Viktor Frankl that we use in the film: suffering ceases to be suffering when we find meaning.
Absolutely.
So if we, after you, yeah.
No, I was going to say that when I heard that, I went, oh my God, that's right. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there.
No problem. If we suffer in small ways or large ways, this film hopefully shines a light on the meaning that we find from that. So that's what I learned. Good things come from hard times. We don't become, as they say, strong sailors in smooth seas.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It takes adversity to build something up, without question. Quickly, I took up baking.
Yes. That's amazing.
What was your specialty?
My grandmother's shortbread cookie recipe, which sounds easy, but my goodness, is it difficult to perfect.
Science, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. But I took up baking, and both myself and my girlfriend. She's a much better baker than me, but I'm just happy that I was able to recreate my long deceased grandmother's shortbread cookie recipe and butter tart recipe, and I was like, I did it. I learned something. I'm good now. So
beautiful.
The film, when and where can people enjoy this?
So we're releasing it in Canada on VOD. It'll be first it'll be on Apple, and in Eastern Canada on Bell. I'm just reading my little post-it note here.
Yep.
And Rogers West in Western Canada. Like we said, we're making our US premiere at the Soho International Film Festival and in October.
Mm.
And from there, we'll be continuing to be very diligent about reaching larger audiences, and getting into festivals like Soho is really helpful for that. So a very experienced, reputable producer told me when she first saw this film, she said, I think this film is going to do really well in about 10 years. So we'll see what happens, maybe in the 10th anniversary of 2020, people are going to really be ready for this film. Awesome. We'll see.
And you're all heading to New York to be a part of this?
I wish we could all go. Not everyone is sort of able to go, but Bernie and I are definitely going.
Mm.
Natalie, are you thinking about it?
I am actually thinking about it. I've got a lot of free time right now, and I was like, I've never been to New York. I'd like to go. That sounds really cool. So I might join you guys.
Oh, that'd be so great, Natalie. Yeah,
Awesome.
With little films like this, pulling out my little tiny violin, we don't have the budget
Yeah.
Yeah.
For travel and for accommodations and for all that stuff.
Yeah.
But these things pay off in different ways.
Before I leave you guys to your days, I just want to give you an opportunity to platform anything else you want to talk about, projects or experiences, or any final things you want to share about the film. Please feel free.
I want to say, JD,
Yes.
When we were finishing up this film, we know we love the film.
Yeah.
And sometimes you go through festival submissions, you go through a whole process. We're just so grateful that we're able to share with people, whether in theaters and be talking to you basically right after a screening. We feel like this is like the lobby of the film festival. I think because of the challenges, maybe we were just it was unexpected a little bit, that we don't take it for granted. So thank you for taking the time to watch the film and talking to us. So I'm very grateful for it.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. This is my honor speaking with you guys, honestly. You're welcome. Absolutely. Natalie, anything to add?
Yeah, I honestly am just super grateful. This is my first kind of like press stuff for a movie. So I'm like, I'm glad to be here, and I'm so thankful, to just see your excitement for this film. I think that's been really just a gift in this conversation, to see you just, kind of just get delighted about the little moments, and even about the things are kind of like internally squealing of like, oh, I want to say it, but I can't say it because it'll give it away. And I just think that that's just been such a delight to watch and witness and be a part of. So thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
It's not easy. and Ben, anything else to add?
What these guys said. Thanks, JD. We appreciate the opportunity to be here, and we wish you all the best on the growth of your podcast.
Thank you.
And we'll definitely be sharing it and getting the word out there. And like these guys said, it's just so great to see an authentically positive reaction and have a conversation about it. So thanks.
Oh, it is absolutely my pleasure. I've so been looking forward to this, and I wanted to watch the film deliberately before I had a chance to speak with you, and it's going to stick with me for a good long while. Like my girlfriend's at work right now, and I can't wait for her to get home and like you got to watch this film. So no, this has been absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for making it to the end of this episode. Big thank you to you for watching, or for listening, or for checking out my website, TheMediajack.ca. There is where you can find other episodes, other content that I create, as well a link to the Patreon where you can support my show, all my work, directly. Also, where you could submit ideas, suggestions, or maybe you want to ask a future guest a question. Patreon is where you can go for all of that and so much more, and also get a shout out, just like Red Wolf Dawn, our executive producer for this month. Big thank you to you once again, and check out TheMediajack.ca.